Mereka tidak tahu pandangan masing-masing sama ada masih kekal atau berubah tentang punca utama perubahan perangai Anne kerana topik itu tidak pernah disentuh. Tetapi fikiran Anne yang berusia 27 tahun sudah berbeza dengan fikiran yang dipaksa ke atasnya ketika berusia 19 tahun. Dia tidak menyalahkan Lady Russell. Dia juga tidak menyalahkan diri sendiri yang mengikut telunjuk Lady Russell. Namun dia merasakan sekiranya ada anak muda dalam keadaan yang hampir sama meminta nasihatnya, mereka tidak akan terjebak dengan kesepian sebegini demi kebaikan masa depan. Dia diyakinkan dengan semua alasan bantahan keluarga dan setiap kerisauan berkaitan kerjaya Captain Wentworth. Segala ketakutan yang mungkin, penangguhan dan kekecewaan. Namun dia mungkin lebih gembira dengan pertunangan itu berbanding dengan pengorbanannya kini. Dia benar-benar percaya sekiranya mereka berkongsi hidup dengan sikap ambil berat dan teruja dengan kelaziman atau lebih lagi tanpa merujuk kepada pengakhiran mereka yang sebenar, mungkin kini mereka dianugerahkan dengan kebahagiaan yang dijangkakan. Bagi pihak Captain Wentworth, segala harapannya yang optimistik dan keyakinannya bertempat. Kebijaksanaan dan semangatnya yang melangit nampaknya telah meramalkan dan mencapai masa depan yang cerah. Selepas mereka memutuskan pertunangan, dia mendapat arahan untuk bertugas. Segala rancangan yang telah dijelaskan kepada Anne akhirnya terlaksana. Dia cemerlang dan naik pangkat demi pangkat seawalnya. Dan kini setelah dia memperoleh hasil perang, keberuntungannya melimpah. Anne hanya merujuk pada senarai maklumat tentera laut di surat khabar dan yakin Captain Wentworth kini adalah hartawan. Mengenang kesetiaannya, Anne percaya dia masih belum berkahwin. Seharusnya dari dahulu lagi Anne Elliot Peta berbicara. Sekurangnya dia bijak menyatakan harapan pada bibit-bibit awal percintaan dan dengan keyakinan penuh keterujaan demi masa depannya. Berbanding bersikap buncah dan berhati-hati yang menidakkan nalurinya dan tidak mempercayai takdir. Dia dipaksa berjaga-jaga dalam usia remajanya dan belajar mengenai percintaan apabila semakin berusia. Akibat alami untuk sebuah permulaan yang melanggar fitrah dirinya sendiri. Dengan keadaan ini dan segala kenangan dan perasaan, Anne kini tidak mampu mendengar berita tentang kemungkinan kakak Captain Wentworth yang akan menghuni Kelly Lynch tanpa membangkitkan kembali kepedihan silam. Begitu kerap dia perlu berjalan-jalan dan banyak kali juga dia mengeluh agar melenyapkan fikirannya yang galau. Seringkali dia memberitahu dirinya bahawa ini satu kesilapan yang dungu sebelum dia dapat menguatkan hatinya. Cukup untuk merasakan perbincangan berterusan tentang pasangan Croft dan urus penyewaan ini tidak berniat jahat. Dia dibantu dengan ketidakpedulian yang cukup sempurna dan kurang kesedaran yang ketara antara tiga orang kerabatnya mengenai rahsia silam yang nampaknya menafikan sebarang kebenangan mengenainya. Dia dapat memahami motif utama Lady Russell dalam hal ini berbanding ayahnya dan Elizabeth, dan dia dapat menenteramkan diri. Namun suasana jahil di antara mereka sungguh penting, tidak kiralah disebabkan maruah maupun keperluan untuk peka terhadap perasaannya. Apabila Laksamana Croft benar-benar menyewa Kelly Lynch Hall, Anne kembali bergembira atas keyakinan yang paling disyukurinya bahawa kenangan silam itu hanya diketahui oleh tiga orang kerabatnya dan dipercaya mereka tidak akan berbisik walau sepatah kata pun. Manakala dia juga percaya bagi pihak Captain Wentworth yang tinggal bersama adik lelakinya yang hanya tahu pertunangan singkat mereka. Si adik sudah lama berhijrah daripada negeri itu. Orangnya matang dan masih bujang ketika itu. Oleh itu, Anne sungguh berharap orang lain tidak mungkin mendengar rahsia ini daripada mulut adik Captain Wentworth. Si kakak, Puan Croft, bermastertin di luar England bagi mengiringi suaminya bertugas ke stesen luar negeri. Manakala Mary, adik Anne pula berada di sekolah semasa semua itu berlaku dan tidak pernah mengetahui apa-apa pun demi maruah dan sensitiviti keluarganya. Semua sokongan ini membuahkan harapan bagi Anne yang berharap perkenalan di antara dirinya dengan pasangan Croft, juga Lady Russell yang menyewa di Kelly Lynch, serta Mary yang menetap 3 batu dari situ tidak akan diselubungi kecanggungan. They knew not each other's opinion, either its constancy or its change, on the one leading point of Anne's conduct, for the subject was never alluded to. But Anne, at 27, thought very differently from what she had been made to think at 19. She did not blame Lady Russell. She did not blame herself for having been guided by her, but she felt that were any young person in similar circumstances to apply for her counsel, they would never receive any such certain immediate wretchedness. Such uncertain future good. She was persuaded that under every disadvantage of disapprobation at home, and every anxiety attending his profession, all their probable fears, delays, and disappointments, She should yet have been a happier woman in maintaining the engagement than she had been in the sacrifice of it, and this she fully believed had even more than the usual share of all such solicitudes and suspense been theirs, without reference to the actual results of their case, which, as it happened, would have been bestowed earlier prosperity than could be reasonably calculated on. All his sanguine expectations, all his confidence had been justified. His genius in ardor had seemed to foresee and to command his prosperous path. He had, very soon after the engagement ceased, got employ, and all that he had told her would follow had taken place. He had distinguished himself, and early gained the other step in rank, and must now, by successive captures, have made a handsome fortune. She had only navy lists and newspapers for her authority, but she could not doubt his being rich, and in favour of his constancy, she had no reason to believe him married. How eloquent could Anne Elliot have been? How eloquent, at least, were her wishes on the side of early warm attachment and a cheerful confidence in futurity, against that over-anxious caution which seemed to insult exertion and distrust providence. She had been forced into prudence in her youth. She learned romance as she grew older, the natural sequel of an unnatural beginning. With all these circumstances, recollections, and feelings, she could not hear that Captain Wentworth's sister was likely to live at Kelly Lynch without a revival of former pain, and many a stroll and many a sigh were necessary to dispel the agitation of the idea. She often told herself it was folly, before she could harden her nerves sufficiently to feel the continual discussion of the Crofts and their business no evil. She was assisted, however, by that perfect indifference and apparent unconsciousness among the only three of her own friends in the secret of the past, which seemed almost to deny any recollection of it. She could do justice to the superiority of Lady Russell's motives in this, over those of her father and Elizabeth. She could honour all the better feelings of her calmness, but the general air of oblivion among them was highly important from whatever it sprung, and in the event of Admiral Crofts really taking Kelly Lynch Hall, she rejoiced anew over the conviction which had always been most grateful. Always been most grateful to her, of the past being known to those three only among her connections, by whom no syllable she believed would ever be whispered, and in the trust that among his, the brother only with whom he had been residing, had received any information of their short-lived engagement. That brother had been long removed from the country, and being a sensible man, and moreover a single man at the time, she had a fond dependence on no human creatures having heard of it from him. The sister, Mrs. Croft, had then been out of England, accompanying her husband on a foreign station, and her own sister Mary had been at school while it all occurred, and never admitted by the pride of some and the delicacy of others to the smallest knowledge of it afterwards. With these supports, she hoped that the acquaintance between herself and the Crofts, which with Lady Russell, still resident in Kelly Lynch, and Mary, fixed only 3 miles off, must be anticipated, need not involve any particular awkwardness.